I want you to envision something for a second. It's September 14th, 2011. Muslim Americans have just stormed the New York State Capitol building to protest the U.S. involvement in the Middle East and its treatment of Muslim Americans 3 days after 9/11. They're chanting "No justice, no peace." They're chasing off senators, and they're having clashes with police officers. Could you imagine that optic? Well, obviously, that's alternative history. It didn't happen. No matter how much we like to change history on YouTube here, that didn't happen. But compare that to this.
No action, no peace! 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 No action, no peace!
This is video of the radical left, even though it's pretty much the whole left nowadays, storming the Tennessee State Capitol to protest the treatment of trans individuals just a mere couple days after, the nut job walked into a Christian elementary school and killed 3 students and 3 staff members, a transgender nut job. Do you know why Muslims didn't do what you just saw right there? Because Muslim Americans knew that Al-Qaeda and bin Laden were extreme minorities that did not represent the views and opinions of 99% of the Muslims in this country. Just like we're hearing about the shooter from earlier this week from the left. And more importantly, Muslim Americans actually felt bad about 9/11. The left does not feel bad about what happened the other day. They see that as justice. They see that as a long time coming, and the chicken's finally coming to roost. All you have to do is go to Twitter. There was no thoughts and prayers for the victims. None. Not from the left. You got the same thing. The thing is, the people on the right, even Marjorie Taylor Greenes of the world, gave the same reaction to the Christian school shooting that they did to the gay nightclub shooting, which is thoughts and prayers for the victim. Now, you can have your opinion on that, but they didn't discriminate based on the demographic that the victims belonged to. The left did. The tweets and social media posts from people on the left ranged from either victim shaming to outright celebration. Now we see them storming the Tennessee State Capitol. Listen, when this shooting happened, I was right there with. Listen, this is a nut job. Most leftist transgender folks aren't violent like this, but when you have 2 days after a shooting, you decide to go. The group in question decides to storm the Capitol building of the state where it occurred. We've got to agree that's a bad optic. The truth is, I don't think most people on the left, I don't think they feel bad about what happened in Nashville the other day. I truly do. I think they think that this is the consequences of their actions in banning the mutilation of children. They think this was karma. It was only a matter of time. That's the rhetoric you're seeing. Even if you don't support the actions of the shooter, which I really think that a lot of people, if you interview people on the micro level instead of the macro level, they'd probably say, yeah, what happened was heinous. But they're so tribalized that they know they can't speak out against the actual violence. They have to fall right in line with the rest of the party, which is, well, that's what happens when you take people's rights away. No, that's what happens when irresponsible talking heads and grifters like you tell a group of people that objectively experiences mental illness at a higher degree than the rest of the population that Christian conservatives are trying to genocide them. That's what happens. Also, when you set a precedent, you have to ask, hey, when's that precedent going to be used against me? Well, you set the precedent on January 6th. All of those people, I fully expect that they should be locked up in federal prison for years without trial. That's the precedent. Those are insurrectionists. Those are traitors. That's what you've said. If you storm a Capitol building, you are a traitor, you're an insurrectionist, and you're guilty of treason. The best response from people on the left I've seen to this shooting has been nothing. No condolences, nothing. They'll either grift for gun control and ignore the obvious political and religious motivations of the shooter. They'll say nothing, or they'll cheer it on. That's it. There's no remorse here, because I truly do think that the state of Tennessee, I truly do think that they believe that the state of Tennessee and the victims of that shooting this week deserved what they got, that they had it coming. You can see by the action right there. There are very, very few moderate liberals in this country. And when I say that, it's more complicated than it sounds, because I think that there are a lot of folks that are registered Democrat and maybe left of center that see a lot of the insanity going on, like what you just saw in that video, like, the mutilation and sterilization of children, and they go, hey, that's not cool. I'm not okay with that. But they don't speak up, and they vote for politicians and candidates and support companies with their dollars that do believe in that stuff. So if you're personally against it, if you continue to vote for it, it doesn't matter. You fall in lockstep with your party, it doesn't matter. You might as well be in support of it. I remember that scene from the Boondock Saints. It said, we must all fear evil men. But what we must fear even more than evil men is the indifference of good men. That's you right now. If you're a moderate leftist, and I know there's a lot of you out there on the micro level, but again, on the macro, it doesn't matter, because you continue to vote for the fringe radical left that has slowly taken over your party like a cancer. And that's what it is. It is a cancer to your party and this country. Joe Manchin, Kirsten Sinema, John Tester, people like that have been ostracized from your party. The last few rational Democrats left, and you guys want them out. And, the thing is those three are probably all going to lose their elections. 2 of them to Republicans. Sinema, it's up in the air. But 2 of them will lose to Republicans. So now it's a question of there's going to be no rational Democrats left in the Senate. You will have no representation left in this country because you have done nothing. You have refused to put your foot down and say, I'm going to stay home. It's the vote blue no matter who. You have fallen into the cult. And there's Republicans guilty of this too. But Republicans aren't the ones that are pushing this gender nonsense, that are trying to take your kids and stuff like that. That's Democrats. And you guys have fallen right in line with it. It's time to put your foot down and say, okay, we're done. We're not going to go along with this anymore. I'm not going to continue to vote for a party that does not represent my beliefs as an individual. And I'll give it a lot of you guys the benefit of the doubt. It snuck up on a lot of people. I think it snuck up on a lot of people. The way they did it was very clever, and they did a very good job at it. 20 years ago, you were the party of Bill Clinton. You can say what you want about Bill Clinton, but Bill Clinton's a far-right conservative by today's standards. 90s Bill Clinton is. 20 years ago, you guys were the party of Bill Clinton. People like that. Now, look at it. Look where you've fallen. I have my disagreements with moderate Democrats, just like I have my disagreements with certain Republicans, but you guys let this happen, and it happened right under your nose, and you had no idea. Again, I'll give you a mulligan because it snuck up on you, but now's the time to say, hey, we're done. This has gone on too long. This is out of control. This party no longer represents me as an individual. I would be willing to bet that if you sat the average Democratic voter down, and went down the list of the things that his party his or her party in the mainstream currently supports, item by item, you'd maybe get 40%, maybe 40%. They don't represent you. Leave. I'm not saying you got to go Republican. Just stop voting until the insanity stops. Because you've been tricked, you've been bamboozled into thinking, well, they want to cut my kids up and and destroy the economy, but it's better than letting the Republicans win. You've been so tribalized. It's become such a team sport. It's sickening. That's all I got to say. Now, we're seeing this stuff about Trans Day of Vengeance, and I saw it was on April 1st, and I was like, it's probably a joke. It's probably a hoax. But now I don't know. Because a lot of the time when you see those like Antifa threats that folks on the right get really worked up about, 99% of the time there's nothing that happens. It's like 12 losers show up, and of course they're wearing masks because they're scared or whatever. Ooh, I gotta bleep that out. And they show up and they hold their stupid little signs up and yell things at the cops, and then they go home to their parents' basements, and that's really it. But now I don't know. I thought it was a joke too. I thought it was a joke, then I'm like, okay, maybe it's a real thing, but it's not really going to be anything. But now we've had, in 2 days, 2 state capitol buildings have been stormed. So I don't know. And I'm not trying to label all trans people as terrorists. I don't think that's the right thing to do either, just like it wasn't the right thing to do with Muslims after 9/11. But when you compare the responses of the Muslim community in the United States after 9/11 and the trans community in the United States after the events the other day, it is a night and day difference. Night and day difference. Of course, there were some fringe radicals, but the overwhelming majority of Muslims in the United States thought 9/11 was appalling, regardless of what your neoconservative great uncle wants to tell you. That's a fact. The average response from not just, trans activists in the United States, but the left in general was, well, that's what happens when you pass laws like that. Come on, give me a break. You know that's ridiculous. You know that's insane. And moderate Democrats, you guys continue to vote for it. Let me know in the comments what you think. What's going to happen April 1st in D.C.? Do you think it's going to get nasty, or do you think it's just going to blow over and nothing will happen? I'm concerned. Listen, I don't want a revolution. I don't want a war, a civil war in this country. It sounds horrible. But I am almost certain that at some point in my lifetime, guaranteed in my children's lifetime, there will be political violence in this country. And I'm not talking political violence where you see the Proud Boys and Antifa fighting. I'm talking nasty political violence in this country. Face-to-face shootouts. I don't want that. I don't want to participate in that. I'm not telling you to participate in that. I don't think you should. I think diplomacy is always a better option until you've been given no choice. I think most people believe that. Unfortunately, I think most people's line is a lot shorter than what mine is, as you saw today and the last couple days. It's like my line is, if you want to come at me, if you're going to threaten violence to myself, my property, or my family, then yeah, it's going to get violent. Other people's line, well, you pass a law that doesn't let us chop up 12-year-olds anymore, we're going to war. That's their line. That's been proven. So just watch yourself. And honestly, you should watch yourself anyway. There's too many crazy people out there nowadays. We have a mental health crisis. I know everyone's like, well, England doesn't have these mass shootings and they have mental health. There is no country in the world that has the mental health crisis that the United States is currently facing. None of them. We are a broken society beyond any other. There is no comparison to the mental health crisis the United States is suffering from right now, and we are seeing it live before our eyes. So you should always be prepared, whether there's political threats or violence or just some whack job that, hey, my girlfriend or girls don't want to have sex with me, so I'm just going to walk into a supermarket and gun people down. You should always be on the alert. If you don't have a concealed carry, get one. Learn how to use it. Don't just learn how to use it. Get tourniquets. I have a tourniquet in my car. There is no downside to you having a tourniquet, or 2 or 3 or 4. And it's not just for shootings. Like if you're going to carry a gun, you should have a tourniquet somewhere you can access, right? Because that's part of your responsibility as a gun owner. But there is no downside to you having one. Like even in for a car accident. They're cheap, they take up very little space, and they could save your life or someone else's. There is absolutely no downside to you having one. There is absolutely no downside to being prepared. I'm not saying you got to go build a bunker in the woods, but be prepared. People are crazy. Tensions are higher right now than they've ever been before, and both sides absolutely refuse to turn the temperature down. So all I'm saying is just be a little bit more alert this weekend, specifically, and where you can see me in Golden, Colorado, Friday, right outside of Denver at the Mountaineering Center. I'll be there with my homies Noe Ramirez, Chance Johnson, and Jacob Luria. We'll be doing a comedy show. Show starts at 7 o'clock. You can get your tickets. I think they're on eTix, but you can also get them at the door. It's probably going to sell out. Come hang out. I'll have merch for sale and all that stuff. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. My show, That's Bass, drops Saturday, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, Rumble, Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram. Caleb Salvatore Comedy on TikTok before it gets banned. Obviously, this YouTube channel right here. And then my Rumble. All the links are down in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Cheat on your taxes, not your spouse. Peace out and stay based. Hey, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, turn the notifications on, and share around if you're feeling generous. It would really mean a lot to me if you guys did that. You can follow all my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, Caleb Salvatore Comedy on TikTok, Caleb Salvatore on Rumble right below. They're also in the description. You can literally just click them and go to the website just through the link. There's no additional work required on your end. I promise you're not going to regret it. Follow me everywhere. You can also check out my show, That's Based with Caleb Salvatore. Episodes air every Saturday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Video on Rumble, audio on Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Outlawstreamers.com to learn more. That's the network we're on. They don't let us post full episodes to YouTube. You go check it out. You'll see why. That's Based with Caleb Salvatore every Saturday, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, wherever we're not banned, which unfortunately YouTube is just one of those places. We do post clips of it here, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time on this YouTube channel. It plays by YouTube's rules. It gives you enough of a taste of what you're getting into. Go check those out, see if you like them, and give the show a full listen. The full listen it deserves. You can also go to my website, which hopefully it's up by the time this video airs because I've had so many problems with it, CalebSalvatoreComedy.com for booking, dates, and merch, and much more. Not really. It's really just those three things, but that's okay too. Click one of those two videos over here. Go see what else I got. Please, just like, subscribe, watch it, share it around. Cheat on your taxes, not your spouse. Peace out and stay based.